So in the previous classes, we have seen a different type of locators supported in Playwright, like Playwright specific locators, and then we have seen CSS locators. So today we'll see XPath locators, how we can use XPath to locate the web element. So as per Playwright documentation, so basically they are not recommended to use XPaths. So instead, we need to go for CSS or Playwright locators, but still it is very important to learn XPath concept an entry perspective. Okay, but in Selenium, XPath will be very used. XPath will be used, but in Playwright, the first priority always goes to Playwright specific locators, and then CSS, and then come to XPath. So what is an XPath? XPath is full form is XML path. So basically, when you load any web page, it will create a DOM structure like this. So the XPath will work on the DOM. In the DOM, every tag is representing as a node. For example, this is my HTML. And once you open the page, the DOM view will be like this. So when you inspect the page, you can see the dev tools, all the DOM structure, and each and every tag is representing as a node. So for example, here HTML is one node, head, body, button, input, page. So everything is considered as a node. Okay. And XPath exactly works based on the DOM. So once the DOM is loaded on the web page, then XPath will start working. Okay, and this same DOM is representing on the web page like this. This is a rendering view of the DOM structure. So once you hit the URL, the browser will create a DOM structure like this, and then you will able to see the UI. So XPath stands for XML language, and it is a syntax used to navigate through elements and attributes in the XML document. So in web automation, XPath is used to locate elements on the web page by their structure and their attributes. So again, just like CSS, in XPath also, there are two kinds of an XPath, relative and absolute, like absolute CSS and relative CSS. Similarly, absolute XPath, which is also called as a full XPath, and also we have a relative XPath, which is called as a partial XPath. So basically, absolute XPath means it will navigate through each and every node in the DOM. For example, let's say I want to navigate to the P, then you need to start with the HTML root node, then it will go to body, and then it will go to paragraph tag. So it will navigate through each and every node from the root node. That is absolute XPath. And it will provide the full path from the root of the document till we found the target element. So when I write absolute XPath, it will always start with a single slash. So this is an example for absolute XPath. So it will first go to HTML, then go to body, then header, div, and finally it reaches the element here. So in absolute XPath, we won't use attributes, but sometimes we can use combination of absolute XPath and relative XPath. But if you write a purely absolute XPath, we never use any attribute. We just specify only tags. Each tag is representing a specific element or a specific node in the DOM structure. So it will start from the root node and it will continue like this till it find the target element. So this is an example of absolute XPath. And we also have relative XPath. So relative XPath will directly jump to the element. It won't navigate through each and every node. So instead, we specify the attribute here. So based on the attribute, it will find that element directly on the DOM itself. So when I write a relative XPath, we have to follow different kinds of syntaxes and different kind of options are there. In especially relative XPath, we can use end operator, or operator. We can use different XPath functions like contain, start with, end with. There are n number of functions are there, and we can use them in the relative XPath. So when I write a relative XPath, it will start with this double slash. And this is a syntax of writing a relative XPath. Let's say star representing the regular expression, which is representing the tags. And if you know the exact tag name of this element, you can specify the tag name directly here. If you don't know, you can say star. This is the important thing. So here in relative XPath, attribute and value, you can use any attribute along with the value, but the attribute will start with the @ symbol. And if you don't put this / star or @, that becomes a CSS again, attribute and value. But as per the XPath, relative XPath, this is a syntax. Relative XPath start with the // and you can use tag name here or star. @ attribute name equal to value. So this is the syntax. So when you compare with these two, absolute XPath or relative XPath, we always try to prefer relative XPath. So why? Because there is same problem again. If you put the complete path, if there is any changes happen in the web page, or if any element is got removed, or if new element is got added, or the element is replacing, or element moved somewhere one place to another place, then obviously this particular structure will be disturbed. So that will broken your XPath in and runtime. So we don't prefer to use absolute XPaths. We can completely avoid this. Instead, we will go with relative XPath. So relative XPath, we don't have such problem because we specify the attribute directly. So it will directly jump and find the element. So always we prefer the relative XPath. Okay. And it is also shorter sometimes, and we can easily maintain the relative XPaths. So these are the two kinds of XPaths, absolute XPath and then relative XPath. Okay, so I'll show you how we can use XPaths and different options, and then we will come to the practical example and we will see that. Okay, and yeah, so what is the difference between absolute and relative XPath? Absolute XPath will start with the single slash, whereas relative XPath will start with the double slash. This is one thing, and absolute XPath represents the full path from the root node, whereas relative XPath can directly jump to the target element or target elements. And absolute XPath that doesn't use any attributes of the element, but relative XPath we use some attribute like ID, class, or whatever attributes are uniquely available. We can use those attributes inside the relative XPath. So absolute XPath will traverse throughout the DOM. So it will navigate, or it will traverse through each and every node of the DOM till it finds the element. Whereas relative XPath directly jump to the element using attribute. So wherever that element is present inside the DOM, it will go and catch that element. Okay, these are the differences between absolute XPath and relative XPath. Okay, and even if you compare absolute CSS and relative CSS, the same differences almost. Okay, now we'll see some examples on this website, and there are various options are in XPath. So we'll see one by one. So I'm directly jumping to the web page. Okay, so this is a web page. So here we will try to explore different options, XPath options available. Okay, so first of all, let us start with the absolute XPath, how to write an XPath and how to capture. So to write an XPath and everything, first we need to open the DOM, just inspect the page. So this is our DOM structure of your web page. And if when I say Control F here, and here you can type in the search box, you can type XPath directly. You can create your own XPath and then it will find that element. It will highlight that element. And the other option is you can use selector hub. It will work very effectively. So just go to selector hub. And whenever you highlight that element or whenever you spy some element like this will automatically generate the XPath, relative XPaths and everything, CSS and everything it is automatically generates. So we can also create our own XPath because one particular element we can write XPath in multiple ways. There are multiple options are there. Multiple people will write XPath in the different ways. Okay, so we can write our own XPath. If you do not like XPath, which is given by selector hub, if you want to write your own XPath, you can write it. Or else we can use generated XPath by the selector hub. Okay, so relative XPath will be generated and also absolute XPath is also generated. This is the one way to do this. Another way is, for example, let's say right click here, go to selector hub. Once you install selector hub, here you can see direct options. You can directly copy the ID, copy the name, relative XPath, relative CSS selector. So you can directly absolute XPath is also available. So you can also capture the locators directly from here. So it will automatically generate or we can create our own. Okay, so now let us see how to create XPaths and we will see various options available in XPath. So let's inspect this image on the web page. So when you inspect this image, so as of now, you can look at this in the selector hub. relative XPath is got generated. Absolute XPath is generated. You can see this is absolute XPath. So what does it mean? It is starting from HTML tag. So there is only one HTML on the page. So index is optional. So index is always start from one itself. So by default, for every tag, indexes is also generated in selector hub, and that is optional. But if you have a multiple elements, you need to specify the index. Suppose you have a two HTML tags, then which HTML tag you want to refer, that you can specify the index number like this. But if I have a one single element, this is not needed. So you can just remove them. Even we have only one single body in the web page, you can just remove this. But sometimes you may have a multiple div tags. So it went to fourth div tag. And inside the fourth div tag, again div of one, div of one, div of one. And here finally img tag. So here it found that element. So it will navigate through each and every tag and finally it reaches the img tag. And here you can look at this. Here we haven't used any attributes. It is simply purely absolute XPath, complete path or full path of the element. This is an example for absolute XPath for logo element. Suppose for the same element, if you want to write our relative XPath, then you can use any attributes. So for example, let's say logo element, same element. So what are the attributes are there along with the tag? img is the tag name. So you can say title. We don't have any value for the title here. Just they put only attribute, but there is no value associated. Alt attribute is there. So alt equal to some text is there and src and then xpath equal to 1. So sometimes when you look at this element, you need to always find the unique attributes. So for example, we should not take these kind of things like xpath, something like this. Okay, so we need to take the unique attributes like alt or src, these things. So to write XPath for this, what you can do, you can say relative XPath start with // and here you can say tag name. Tag name is what? img. And in the bracket here we need to specify any of the attribute. Let's say at the rate, attribute start with the at the rate. So that is the syntax. So when you're writing the XPath, you can see here selector hub is automatically suggesting some XPath. It is automatically suggesting. So you can use them. At the rate, and I can say alt attribute equal to single or double quotation. So you can specify the value. This value you can keep it in the single or double quotes. This is the called relative XPath. So one element is matching. One element is matching. It is called relative XPath. So we can use a specific attribute of the element. Suppose if you do not know the tag name, if you don't want to specify the tag name, you can say star, star representing regular expression. So that is again matching with the tag name. So this is your relative XPath. Relative XPath means shortcut. So directly we can specify the attribute and we can locate the element. And here if I look at this, how many attributes we specified? A single attribute we specified. Sometimes we can specify multiple attribute also. Suppose if the single attribute is not enough, we can all add multiple attributes if I want. Okay, so for example, let's say search box. Let me inspect this element. So if I look at this search box, it's an input element. So if I look at this, there are so many attributes are there. You can say type, class, ID is there, and then name is also there, value is also there. There are multiple attributes of this element. So if you have multiple attributes, you can also write multiple attributes in the XPath. It's very simple, // So tag name is input. And in the bracket, first attribute you can specify. I can say at the rate. So there is ID attribute available or value attribute you can take. Let's say value I'm taking. So value is equal to search store. This is the value that you can specify. So this will match with this element. If the attribute is matching with this single element, that is fine. But if you want to add additional attribute, so then you can put another bracket and specify another attribute. You can say at the rate, again, type equal to, or anything you can specify. So whatever it says, type equal to text is there, or you can say anything. So type equal to simple say text. So multiple attributes you can say. So you can see it is not matching. T is type double time. Okay, so we can say this is a relative XPath with two attributes. So we can specify single and double attributes. You can add n number of attributes like this. Okay, so every attribute should match. So the first attribute and second attribute also should match. And then only it will able to locate the web element. So XPath can have a multiple attributes. And we can also use different operators. Like suppose I can put two attributes and I want to specify both should be matched or at least one should be matched. So depends on requirement we can put. Okay, for example, let's say search button is here. Let me inspect the search button and let me write an XPath for that. Search button is basically inspect this element and it is also seems like input element. So in the DOM, this is also an input element. So let us start writing the relative XPath / input and in the bracket at the rate. So we have a type is there values class. Okay, you can use some type, for example. So type equal to submit. Type equal to submit. So this is one attribute and matching with the element. So now along with this, I want to use another attribute with AND operator. So you can use one operator called AND inside the bracket itself. We can say AND. And if you put the another attribute outside of the bracket, then two attributes should be there for that element. Both should match. But now inside this also, you can say AND. This is also alternative. AND, you can take a value equal to search. So if I look at this is matching with 0 element. So I can say at the rate symbol is mandatory. So when I say one element is matching. And if I look at this, I have used two attributes with AND operator. So AND operator will return true if both attributes are returns true. So for example, type equal to submit is true or not? Yes, we have a type equal to submit. Similarly, value equal to search. Yeah, value is also search. Both are correct. So in that case only the AND operator will return true. So this XPath will match with the element. Suppose if one of them is false, for example, instead of search, I will say find. So will it match with the element? No, 0 element. AND operator will return true only if both attributes are true. So first one should returns true and second one is also returns true. Then only AND operator returns true. The whole XPath will locate the element. Okay. Now OR operator. So OR is exactly opposite of that. So instead of AND, I can say OR. So OR is nothing but what? Either first attribute or the second attribute. At least one should be matched. Now in this particular case, it will match with the element. So even though the second one is not correct, still the first one is correct. So it will go and locate the element. So OR means either first one or second one. At least one should return true. And then it will go and find that element. Suppose here I'm making as a search, for example, let's say search. Second one is correct. Now the second submit one I'm saying. So first one is not correct. Now again, one element is matching. Even though the first one is not true, but second one is true. Okay, so that is going to locate the element. Okay, so there are not multiple R's, multiple AND. You will use only one OR operator. Okay, between these two attributes. Okay, so at least one should be true. Okay, so this is a XPath with OR operator, AND operator, OR operator. AND means both should true. OR means at least one should be true. Okay. So these are few XPath examples. And along with this, the XPath is also having a different methods like contain, start with. We can also handle easily the dynamic elements and all. So we will discuss them later. So first of all, let us explore this with practical example. So let's go to VS Code editor and create a new file. And I'll name it as XPath locators.spec.ts. Okay, so XPath locators.ts. Okay, so as usual, first what we need to import. So import and multiple things I'll try to import. Test I will import. expert is also I will import. And to store the locators, I'll import the locator also from at the rate playwright slash test. So imported the required modules, and then we need to write a test method. Test, and the first parameter should be title of the test. Let's say XPath demo in Playwright. I'm just giving some title, and then we need to write an arrow function and then bracket start. So in arrow function, before that arrow function, we specify async, and inside the arrow function, we need to take the page picture. All right. This is the structure of the method, test method. Now, so let's go to the page. So await dot go to, you can say await page dot go to, and here we need to specify the URL of the application. Same, I'm using same URL. And this is the page which I'm going to launch. All right. So once it is launched, now we'll see the absolute XPath first. Absolute XPath. So how to write any type of XPath? So we can specify that using locator method, just like a CSS, how we specified page.locator method. Same thing for XPath also, page.locator method we can use. So how to use, you can say page.locator, and directly you can paste the XPath here. So here you can paste the XPath in the double quotes. Let us inspect this logo element. And this is an XPath. And copy this XPath and keep it here. So this is a locator element. And I want to store this locator element in a variable. So I just create a variable called logo. Let me make it as a const or let whatever. Now, what is the type of this variable? What is the type of this logo? I say page.locator, and just I put the locator. So this is a relative XPath. So let me capture the absolute XPath. This is our absolute XPath, right? So just copy this. This is your absolute XPath. Okay. So page.locator, and then we specify the complete locator, and that we are storing into logo here, right? So now what is the type of this logo? It should be, what is the type of this logo? The type of this logo. In the last class, I told you. So the locator method will always return the locator type. So the logo type is what? Locator. So even though if you don't specify the type, so by default, this logo type is what? Locator. So type inference will work. So by default, TypeScript will identify the type of element and it will automatically associate it with this. Or else we need to explicitly specify the type. You can specify like this. So in the locator, L is a capital letter. Okay. Yeah. So now we capture the element using absolute XPath and stored into locator. And do we need to use await statement here? Here. Exactly in the place. Do we need await here? No. It is not needed. Why? Because we are just storing the locator in a variable. When await is required, when you perform certain action, we need await. Okay. So here I'm taking an expect method, expect of the logo, and I want to verify the visible or not. So for that, we can use one assertion called to be visible, to be visible. So here we are doing an action actually. So you can see expect logo dot visible. So here we can keep the await statement. Okay, so this is a way we can use absolute XPath. So this will find the logo element. This will find the logo element and check is visible or not. This is one assertion. So now relative XPath. So relative XPath. Again, we'll try to locate the logo itself using relative XPath. Again, same thing. Instead of using this absolute XPath, we will try to use relative XPath. So here, this is, I can call it as a absolute logo. and I call it here it is a relative logo. Okay, same thing. So here we need to put relative XPath of the element. So if I go back and see selector her, this is the relative XPath of the IMG tag. So mostly logos and images, we won't do any actions. We just verify the visibility of the element. Okay. So these are the two different ways we can write an XPath, absolute XPath and then relative XPath. So let's go and execute and see new terminal. And okay, so what is the command? Npx. What is the folder name? PW demos, right? So in the PW demos, test slash XPath locator spec.ts. Okay, so this is a path hyphen in header mode. I'm going to run. Sorry, npx playwright test. Okay, so now it is successfully executed. I think it is saying no test found. It's not executed, first of all. So make sure that arguments are regular access matching the test file. You may need XPath symbol like a dollar or star at the code the argument. So we have done some mistake here. So the test we have written, right? So test name asynchronous page arrow function await page dot go to. We have imported packages also. Absolute XPath. Okay, everything is fine. So let me run this once again. Yes, there is a space here actually. Yes. No, it is not. The path is not correct, guys. Okay, just a moment. So test npx playwright test in the test folder. So the name of the file is what? XPath locators. XPath locators dot spec dot ts. Okay, let me just try to remove this. It is not identifying the test, first of all. Just a second. Just a second. Npx playwright test. This is the command. And then test folder. So currently in the PWS demos, we are in test folder TESTS. Is there any spelling mistake in this test folder? Okay, slash XPath locators dot spec dot ts. Yeah, so the slash is missing. Edit. So if the path is not correct, it cannot find the test. Okay, so that is an error you will get. So the path should be correct. You can see no test found again. So make sure that arguments or regular expressions are missing the test files. So are we missing anything here? npx. I think in the PW demos we are here. So I think dot test. Okay, we'll see that. Okay, so I think dot test is not needed. Okay, why? Because in the directly in the configuration file, so it will find the dot test itself. So here we already configured this dot slash test. So it will get the folder from here. So you can directly specify that. Okay, let me try once again. Clear. So npx playwright test XPath locators. Even if you specify this, let's say test slash forward slash Yeah, that is a problem actually. So we need to use a forward slash, not a backward slash. Okay, so somehow it is getting failed. So I wait expect absolute logo dot to be visible. It is got failed. So why it is got failed? Unexpected token slash while passing CSS selector. Uh, MG1. So I think this is not CSS. This is an XPath. Expect to be visible with 5000 waiting for. Okay, so we'll try once again. Okay, I think everything is correct. There is no mistake in this. So page.locator and this is a absolute XPath. We'll start with the single slash. Okay. And then to be visible. Okay, just a second, guys. Let's see this. Okay. So the first element, whatever we taken, so that is starting with the double slash. So actually it should start with the single slash also, but it is considering as a CSS. Let me just put XPath like this. No, it is also not allowed. Just a moment. Let me try like this. So I put everything inside the locator part. Okay. So if you want to use absolute XPath with a single, so this is also another syntax. So this is optional actually. So the XPath, whatever I have written, so that is prefix. So this is optional. Even though if you don't specify this, uh, Playwright will automatically consider this as an XPath. Okay. Similarly, even if you are using CSS also, you can use this keyword CSS equal to something like that, but that is an optional. CSS and XPath is optional. The keyword is optional, but if you want to still specify that, you can say XPath equal to like that. Right. So if we don't specify this XPath equal to like this, then you need to start with the double quotes, because if you don't specify the XPath and if you directly provide the absolute path, Playwright doesn't know whether it is an XPath or CSS. It cannot recognize it. So Playwright, by default, Playwright will recognize XPath with a double slash. So you need to use a double slash, or you can use XPath equal to single slash. This is also correct. But the whole thing we need to keep inside the double quotations like that. Okay, this is the syntax of writing the absolute XPath, or else you can directly write a double slash and then it will work. Okay, so this is how we can do. So let me clear and execute one more time. I just remove headed mode and then it is start running my test. Okay, so now it is get passed. So this is absolute XPath and relative XPath. So now XPath is also having a different function. So we will see that. XPath, the contains method. The first method is a contains method. So very useful when you trying to locate the dynamic element. Sometimes the attribute values keeps changing. So in those cases, we can use contains start with the methods are available. So if I look at this, what is contains method do? So the syntax is like this. So slash slash star contains the attribute and the value. So when I use contains method, we can just pass a substring of the value. So normally when I say attribute at the rate class, you can provide the value here. Even ID or name, whatever attribute you use, we will provide the complete value. So instead of that, we can just pass some portion of the value or some substring value we can pass when I use contains method. So this is syntax anchor tag contains at the rate href, let's say computer. So this is a partial string. So what this XPath will be able to match with the elements. So for example, let me try to use this. So this is an XPath. Let's go to the page again. Okay, so go to the home page, inspect. Okay, selector hub and say slash slash anchor tag. A is representing the anchor tag. So in this, I can say contains method I'm giving. For example, let's say anchor tag. I'm using href attribute. Href equal to what? Hyperlink reference. Href is nothing but a hyperlink reference. So you can provide the reference. For example, let's say these are all different links are available. Now inspect this particular link. So what is an href attribute here? This is the href attribute. So you can say this is the one. Let's copy this attribute. This is the href attribute I'm using here. So this will go and match with the two elements. Now you can see with this locator, it is matching with two elements. Image is also having same href and this locator, this both are there. Suppose I want to locate group of elements. Let us say in this particular page, I have different elements. And let's say here we have a laptop, here a computer, and here there is a computer. So I want to locate the elements and whichever are having the keyword called computer. You can see there is computer keyword here. Here is a computer keyword. So in this case, what you can do is you can just specify some substring, which is matching with a group of elements. I say computer. What will happen? Zero elements, because we don't have any elements having href attribute is computer. But there is a full value here. Computer is what? Is a partial value, is a substring. So what we can do in this case, we can use contains method. So I'm not providing the complete value of href. So here you can use contains and at the rate href comma we have to use, not equal to, comma we have to use, and then close the function. This is called XPath function. Contains a at the rate href compute. Now you can see 14 elements are matching. 14 elements are matching. But again, I don't want to match with the images. I want to capture only the titles. Only the titles. So in that case, what you can do, if I inspect this image, img tag is there. But if I look at this, only the title, text, anchor tag, and this anchor tag is present inside what? This anchor tag is inside, inspect this element, for example. This is a part of h2 tag. So these are all h2 tags, h2 headers, right? Inside this anchor tag is there. So the same XPath, but in before that, I will say only h2 slash h2. So now inside the h2, it will go to anchor tag. So once you start with the h2 in the next element, you no need to specify double slash. You can simply have a one single slash also. It is fine. So this is matching with exactly 4 elements. So what is this XPath will do? First, it will go to h2 tag and find anchor tags. And whichever anchor tag is having href attribute contains a computer keyword, this will able to match. So there are 4 products are there with this. You can see here it is a computer, here it is there, here it is, right? So this is going to match with those elements. So this is how we can use contains method to find a group of elements. Okay, so let's try to use this and let me grab all the group of elements. So far we have seen how to grab the single web element, right? So this time we will see how to grab the multiple elements or group of elements. So this is the next path I'm trying to use and to capture all the computer related products. Let me go to this and then third one, contains method. Okay, so here I'm writing the locator like this, page dot locator, and directly paste your XPath. Okay, now just carefully listen this. This is important. So this time the XPath is matching with the multiple elements or group of elements. I want to store them in a variable. I want to store them in a variable. So let's create a variable called const products. Okay, now tell me what is the type of this variable. Can you guess? So page.locator, the method is not changed. Same method, even if you are identifying a single web element or multiple web elements, the same method is there. But in Selenium, we have a find element and find elements, two different methods. But here there is only one method. And you can specify XPath, which is matching with a single web element or multiple web element, whatever it may be. The return type is always a locator itself. The locator itself. Okay, the return type is always locator. No, it won't return any array. It returns, it is matching with group of elements, and that locator we are storing into products. Now the products contains a group of elements, but still it is returning the locator itself. Whenever you are using locator method here, always the return type of the locator method is locator itself. Okay, but how we can handle group of elements, we will see that. So as of now, we captured group of elements into a variable. Can we count how many variables are there in the products? Let's see. For example, let's say I just want to count how many are there. Simply you can say products dot, there is a method called count. Okay, count. So where this count method will come from the locator itself. Okay, so products we captured and we can simply count. So this will return how many products are there, how many elements are matching with this XPath. Okay, if XPath is matching with single element, then it will return 1. If the element is matching with multiple element, then it returns a number, how many elements it is matching. That's the count method. Okay, and the count it will return, right? So this I want to store in another variable. So I will create another variable to store the count. Let's say I'm creating another variable, const variable, products count, products count. Okay, so now this count method will return a number. Return type of the count is what? A number will return along with the promise. So the count method is returning the promise. So here we capture the products, but here we are doing the action. So await is required here. Okay, so this is returning the number. So what is the type of this variable? Obviously it is a number. Okay, so now we capture the multiple elements into a variable. Then we have counted how many are there and store them in a variable. So this is the number type, right? So now based on this, we can add one assertion. So how we can add assertion? So I want to verify the product count. So to add assertion, you can just say expect. So product count, it will return some number, right? So expect, I say product count should be, so whatever product want we calculated, the product count should be some number you can give, or else what you can do, you can simply use a method called greater than, less than, something like that. Because we don't know exact number, so I can use something called dot to be greater than, and let's say 0. So the products count should be greater than 0. Okay, to be greater than 0. So it should not be 0. That means at least one product should be there with this product. So this is my assertion I put. Okay. So do we really require await here? Await is required here. Here. It is not needed here. Why? Because we are comparing the count. We are not comparing with any elements or anything. We are already captured the count here. We already used await statement for product counter. We got the count itself, number. So we're just comparing the number here. So here we no need to put await, because to be greater than method won't return any promise. It won't return any promise. So this is await statement is not required for this particular statement. Okay, this is an assertion, contains method. So we can do many more operations on this, on group of elements, and we will see. First of all, let me run the test once. Okay, so now it is get passed. So now I just want to print how many count are there. So if you want to print, what we can do, here you can say console.log of, I say computer related products. So number of computer related products. I'm just trying to print this product count so that we will know exactly how many products are there here. So execute one more time. Yes. So yeah. So now there are four products are present. So this is returning four products. Okay. Suppose among those four products, I want to extract the first product. I want to display the name of the first product. Let us say this is XPath matching with the four products. In among these four products, I want to capture the name of the first product. I want to display the name of the first product. So then how we can capture that? So we already captured all the products into this products variable. Now from this products variable, I want to extract the first product name, first product. So then how we can extract? So we have a method called text content. So we have a method called text content. Or if we want to extract a multiple products, all the products I want to extract, I want to display the names of all the products. So then how we can do this? For example, let's say, okay, so I'm just writing products. So whatever products I have captured, I'm using the products. Dot, there is a method called text content. Products dot text content. Listen, this is very important step. Products dot text content. So what is the text content method will do is, so whatever the locator we have captured from that locator, it will extract the text value. So it is exactly equal to get text method in Selenium. So if you want to extract the text from the element, we use the text content method. It can be single element or group of elements. So if it is a group of element, that is a different story. But let us assume this is an element. I'm using text contents. So mostly the text content will be written if we have only one single element. Okay, if you have a single web element, it will able to extract the content of the text or display the text for that particular web element. But here what I'm doing, I'm applying the same text content method on the locator, which is pointing to multiple web elements. So in that case, what will happen? Products dot text content method I'm using. So again, this will return a promise. So let me use await here. Okay, await. So I'm just trying to print this now. Inside the console.log, I'm trying to print this. And we'll see what this will exactly print. So remember, text content is a method which will extract the content from the text. Okay, so now if I look at this, products.text content is giving an error, and read the error now. Locator.text content error, stick to mode violation. This is very, very common error you may face while running your automations most of the times. Stick to mode violation. What does it mean? Stick to mode violation means sometimes whatever the locator you have created, if it is matching with more than one element. If you look at here, four elements are matching actually. So with this XPath, there are four elements are matching. But what you are doing the one single action. You are doing the action, but Playwright is confused on which element you want to perform the action. So we are trying to get the text content. From which element you want to get the text content among the four elements. So that is the reason it is throwing an error called stick to mode violation error. This is a very common error most of the times you will get. And not only this particular scenario, sometimes if locator is matching with more than one element, and if you are applying click method, or if you are doing click action, even that case also you will see strict mode violation error. Okay, strict mode violation error. So in the previous examples also, we have seen this problem. Even in the Playwright locators, if I go back and see the previous class Playwright locator, here get by, I have shown you one method here, get by role. Okay, so when I use get by role method, here register, I'm clicking, I'm using to be visible, right? So in this particular element, instead of using get by role, if I use get by text on the register, this will throw strict mode violation error. Okay, so it will throw strict mode violation, same element, same register element. Instead of using get by role, I'm using get by text. So this will also throw the strict mode violation error. Why? Because when I use get by text with the same register, there are multiple elements are there in the page. There are multiple places the register link is available. So that is the reason it cannot perform this action on the element. It will confuse on which element I want to perform the action if it is matching with more than one element. So that is the reason it is giving strict mode violation error. So in this case, you have to specifically say, what is this actually? What is the role? So heading. So in this case, you cannot use get by text. You need to choose another locator like get by role heading. You need to specify the name. Okay. So when you will get the strict mode violation error, whenever you're trying to perform an action on the locator, which is matching with more than one element. So here it is happening the same thing actually. So this will throw strict mode violation error. This will throw strict mode violation error because this locator products contains a multiple elements. On the multiple elements, we cannot perform the single action. If you're trying to perform the single action on multiple elements, Playwright confused on which element you want to perform the action. Okay, this is the problem. So this will throw the strict mode violation. Now, I want to extract the text content of the specific product. So the products contains a multiple products. Like 4 products are there. Now I want to get the text content of the first product or second product or third product or last product. So then how we can do that? So simply what you can do, say take the products element, products locator, dot, there is a method called first. Okay. Take the first element and then use the text content. So this will actually return the text content of the first element from the products. Okay. So products is what basically it works as an array itself. It works as a array itself. Okay. So let me print this value now. Yes. So I say console.log of products.first.text content. I'm directly keeping inside the console.log. So I will also write some description here. This is my first computer related product. First computer related product. Okay. So now do we require await statement here? The text content method return promise. So definitely you need to use await statement. Okay. So this is how we can capture the text content of the first element in the products. The first element, whatever is there, we are capturing the text content. Similarly, I want to capture the last element, last one. So last computer related product. So in this case, instead of first method, we can use a last. So this is another method which we have. Suppose I want to capture some random product like second or third or fourth. We don't know which one is the first, which one is the last. So in that case, you can use nth method, nth. So I can say whichever number you provided, it will return. So instead of first and last, you can simply say product dot nth of, we need to specify the number. So first or second, third or fourth. So you can say third product I'm specifying. I'm extracting the text content. Okay. So this case, in this particular case, it won't return any strict mode violation error because we are referring a specific product name. One single product name, you will get the text content. So let me run it once again. Okay. Now these are the values. So can this is the totally 4 products are there. This is the first product name. And then this is the last product name. And this is the nth product name. So I think nth one is given 3. Products dot nth of 3. And last one is again same, I guess. Let me give something else. Say the first one I'm printing. What is the first one? Build your own cheap computer. And also I'll give 1 here. Let's see whether the first one and last one is equal or not. Okay. So first one and nth of 1 also should return same product. Yeah, you can see that. So build your own cheap computer, the first product, and this is the last product. Okay, so I think nth value will start from 0. Yes, we can also iterate using array. I will show you that point. Okay. So this is how we can extract the specific elements by passing a index number, by passing an index number. I think these methods index will start from 1 itself, right? Not a 0. Let me give 4 because total 4 elements are there. I'm just giving 4 index. Okay. Yeah. So index will start from 0, guys. Okay. So the text content index is start from 0. It is throwing an error anyway. So index is starting from 0. Okay. So index is start from 0. So this is how we can use a text content method through which we can extract the text of the particular element. So not only this, any web element, if you want to capture the text from the element, you can use the text content method. So remember this, this is exactly equal to get text method in Selenium. Okay, so now here we have extracted individual elements using first method, last method, nth method, and then we are able to capture the text content. So instead of that, I just want to write a loop. For example, I have a 10 products or 20 products. So it is difficult to write a multiple statement like that, right? So in that case, what we can do, we can use a looping statement and through which we can iterate all the products. So how we can use a looping statement. So here also we have a different method. Here we use only text content, right? To capture the text from the specific product. So if you want to get the text content for all the products, I want to get the text content of all the products, we use another method called all text contents method. Okay, so let me show you how we can do this. I'm taking again same products. So same products. So here when I use products.text content, it is throwing strict mode violation. Why? Because the text content method works only on the specific element, only one single element. But here products contains a group of elements. So now what I'm using products dot all text contents. This is another method. Products dot all text contents. So what this method will do, this method will extract the text of all the contents which are there in the products. Okay, so all text contents method will capture the text content of all the products in this variable, products variable. So what is the difference between text content and all text contents? Text content will get the text from specific web element, one web element. Whereas all text contents will extract the text from multiple web elements, a group of web elements. So currently the products are contains a group of web elements and it will able to capture all the text contents, right? So let me just try to store them in a variable. So again, all text contents will return the promise. So keep await statement before that. Now I want to store them in a variable. I want to store them in a variable. Let me give some different name. So I say product titles. Product titles. So this is a variable. I'm just creating product title. Let me just say let. Now what is the type of this variable now? Can you guess? So products dot all text contents. All text contents will return an array of string. The return type is what? An array of string. So now obviously the product titles is what? It is an array. So what type of an array it is? It is a string type of an array. So we can explicitly write string type of an array. Okay, you understand the point? So here the get all content. This will get all the text contents matched products in a form of array. In the form of array. So getting all the match products into array. So now the product titles contains all the product names. Now can we read one by one from array? How we can read the data? We can use a looping statement, simple. So I'm writing a loop statement. So you can use any type of a loop. We have a different loops. So here I'm preferring for of loop. Let's say creating some variable, let product title pt. I'm giving simple variable product title of product titles. So how exactly off method will work? It will work index based on index or not. So this won't use index. Suppose if you are using in operator here, then it will use index. So now the pt is an index of the element. So when I use off, The PT is the actual value of the element. Okay. So from the product titles, it will get the first value in the PT, and that I'm going to directly print here, console.log of PT. That's it. And the second round, it will get another value from the product titles, store into PT, and then it will print like this. So this loop will repeat multiple times till it prints all the values from product titles. So this is how we can also capture the data by using looping statement. Okay, this is very, very important thing. So if you want to get text content of multiple elements, then use all text contents method, store them in the array variable. Then you can work on the data. So whatever the data we captured in the arrays, we can work on it using looping statement. Okay. So now let me try this. Okay, now it is printed. 4 products, first computer related product, last computer related product. I think this will fail, fourth one. Because there is waiting time is 30 seconds. So if something is not found in the web page, it will wait for maximum 30 seconds and then it will exit from the execution. So it is still waiting for the 4. So this is fail actually. There is no element in the 4th location. So let me make it as a 2 or 3 something. So count start from 0. So totally 4 elements are there. 0, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Okay, so now we can see this. It is get passed. Now we are able to see all the products displayed using looping statement. So these are the 4 products displayed using looping statement. Right? If you want to write a single console.log, you can write as a console.log. You can just remove from here. Before using for loop, you can simply write here. All computer related product titles. Okay, so we can just print array. We can also print directly array, right? So I can say product arrays, but this will print in array format. We cannot extract individual values in that case. So when you run this will print all product titles in the form of an array. Okay, so if I go back and see, this is an array. So all products are printed in the form of an array. Okay, so we can also print an array like this, or we can iterate the array to get individual values. All right, so this is how we can work if the locator is returning multiple elements, group of web elements or multiple web elements. And remember, to get the single web element or group of web elements, there is only one method available, which is locator method itself, page.locator method itself. Okay. And the same method will return single web element or group of web element. That depends on the locator, what we have written here. If the locator is matching with single web element, then return single web element. If the locator is matching with a group of web elements or multiple web elements, and then return multiple web elements. And second point, text content works only on the single web element, whereas all text content method will work on group of web elements. Understood, everyone? So this is very important scenario in entry question. What is the difference between text content and all text contents? Okay, so how to extract the single web element and group of web elements? Use same method, locator method. And if you want to extract the text from the single web element, use the text content. And if you want to get the text content from group of web elements, then all text contents method you have to use. Okay, so this is a important thing. So now we'll see few more other methods in XPath. We have start with method, text function, last function. There are many things. So let's go to the document once again. So another one, start with. So we have seen contains method. So now the start with. So start with method again, just like a contains method, but here the value which we are giving for the attribute should be the starting point. So start with method, let's say href/build. So the href attribute should start with /build. So whatever the value we have provided in here, the href attribute should start with this value. So then it will match with the element. That's called start with. So we don't have an end with method. So we only have a start with method and contains method. Okay. So let's see how we can use this start with method again. Suppose I'm again taking the same URL. Go back to this save application. This time I'm going to capture the different thing. Okay. So now here there are different products again we have. So in all those products, there are certain products are starting from the build keyword. You can look at this. So this one, build your own cheap computer. So build is a starting keyword. And here, build your own computer. So build your own expensive computer. So these product names are starting with the build. That's the starting point. Let's inspect this element and see the href attribute. So how it is started? Slash build. Slash build is a starting point. And look at this one. And this is also slash build. And even this also. Next one, this is also slash build. So all these three elements, 3 to 4 elements are there, or 3 elements are starting with slash build, href attribute slash. I'm not talking about the text. I'm talking about the href attribute. Okay. Href attribute is what? Slash build, starting with slash build. Now, if you want to locate any elements which are starting with some value, then we go for start with method. So another method, fourth one, start with, XPath with start with method. So how to use this? Again, await, or you can say page dot locator. Now I'm going to write one locator here, XPath slash h2, all header tags I want, h2 slash anchor tag. So this is matching all 6 elements. 6 products are there in the page, 6 elements are matching. Among the 6 elements, I want to get only build products, the products names which are starting with the build. Build in the sense not a title, based on href attribute. So what I will do is I can say @href, @href. Okay, so normally how we will give the value href equal to some value we will provide here. So let's say slash build I'm providing. Will it match with elements? No, 0 elements. But I want to use a something. Can I use contains here? Contains. Can I use contains in this case? Contains @href attribute should be build. Can I use contains? Yes, obviously you can use contains. 3 elements are matching. But alternatively, we can also use start with method. So when I use contains, what is the difference between contains and start with? Start contains means nothing but what? This particular value should be there anywhere. Can be there anywhere in the string. You can find at the beginning or at the end or at the middle, wherever you want, it will match. But when I use start with instead of contains, when I use starts with, starts-with, then this value should be the starting point. So then only it will match with the 3 elements. Okay. Now again, this XPath is returning more than 1 element. 3 elements are matching. So let's grab them. So page.locator, write an XPath. So this is also returning multiple elements. Returns multiple elements. So we can store them in again variable. I create one more const variable. I'll name it as a building products. Products we already given above. I'm giving a different name. So what is the type of this variable? Obviously, it is a locator type. Even it's a single or multiple, the type is locator, and that won't change. So here await is not needed because the locator method won't return any promise. It just return only locator type. Right. So now how to count how many products are captured? To count number of products, how we can count? Building products dot. So to be building products dot count. So this is a method we can use. So this will return the count, how many number of products. Let me take a variable called count and type of the variable is const. So now do we require await here? The count method will return a promise. Number it will return along with the promise. So you must specify await in front of this. And the type of the count variable is what? It is a number type. Count is a number type. Okay. Now we can put the assertion again. So we can say expect count and to be greater than 0. So number of products, I say to be greater than 0. So this is my expectation. This is how we can use start with. Okay, let's try this, execute. So understand the difference between contains and start with. Contains method, the value can be anywhere in the string. Start with method, the value should be at the beginning of the string. That is a difference. So everything is got passed. So this is start with function along with XPath. And there is another method called text function. So we can use this combination whenever you want to locate any text kind of a content, labels or headings. So such type of things you can use a text method. Very simple syntax. So text equal to the value of the text you can specify. So it is exactly equal to get by text method in Playwright. So get by text method is there, right? So same thing. But here in XPath we use a text function. Text function equal to register. We can also use contains along with the text function combinations. I'll show you that. So let us use a text function, how we can do this. So in the same page, I have something called register link, right? So this register link is there. So I want to check this register is visible or not. I just want to check this is visible or not. Simple, inspect this element. And you can see this is the text, which is also link, not a problem. You can write XPath for this also. Anchor tag, using anchor tag, you can write. But I want to use a text. So this is called inner text. So I want to locate that element using register. So how we can locate? So let me go to selector hub, but by default, it is giving the XPath here. And instead of that, you can write your own XPath. Let's say // anchor tag. So there are 100 elements are matching with anchor tag. Among those 100 elements, and which element you want to match with? Register. So I can use a text method here. So text method equal to, what is the value I'm expecting here is register. So I can say register. And this is one element is matching. So one element is matching. So there is another method called normalize space. So instead of text here, there are multiple options you can use, guys. Suppose if you don't want to use the text function, you can simply use a dot also. Dot is also representing a text. So this is also matching with element. You can use a text function, or you can use a dot, or you can use normalize space like this. So normalize space register. So this is also matching with element. So what is the difference between text and normalize space? So if you are using text function here, the text value should be exactly same. It won't accept any spaces and all. But in the value, if there is any space, that is fine. Okay, but in the value, there is no space. But again, if I give space something like this will match. So normalize space means it will just ignore the spaces in the value. And if I use only text function, then it will consider the spaces also. So that is a major difference. So this will able to match with any element you can match with this text. Basically the labels we can match. So will this return one single web element, right? This is written single web element. So let's get that element. Text function. Text or dot. So I can say page dot locator, specify this locator. So this will return single web element. Single web element that I'm going to store. That is a registration link. I can call it a reg link. So this, what is the type of this variable? I say const. Type of the variable is what? Is a locator again. Locator will return. So await is not needed because the locator method won't return any promise. So now we got a registration link. Now you can perform click action, or you can verify visible or not. So everything you can do. So I'm writing an expect here. Expect and reg link, registration link. Okay, now what is the method for visibility test? For visibility, what is the method we can use? Assertion method to be visible. dot to be visible. So there are so many assertions are there. So I will discuss in a separate session altogether assertion types. Okay, to be visible. Okay, now you tell me where is await required. So do we require await here or not? So to be visible, await is needed. Okay, because to be visible method return the promise. So it is an action. So await is required. So this is how we can use text function to get the element. Now run this. Perfect. So now it is get passed. So let us see the report once. npx playwright show report. Okay, so now this is the one assertion is got passed. This is another assertion. These are expect wherever you can see expect, they are all assertions. All right. So the next one, last function. So text function we have learned the last function. So what is the last function will do? Last. It select the last element in the set of matching nodes. Get the last element in the set of matching nodes. So we have done this in the different way. If I look at this particular thing, contains method. So we have extracted all the elements in the products. And again, if you want to capture the last element from the product, the last product, if you want to use this method called last. But this is not XPath. This is a method which are available in the locator class. So products.last means it will return the last element. So when we can use this first, last, nth, once we get all the elements in the variable, and from that variable, we can extract the first one, last one, nth one. But at the time of locating the elements itself, I want to get the first one. For example, go to the page. So here in the bottom, there are so many follows links, my account links are there. So these are all actually group of links. That's how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So among those 5 elements, I want to extract the last one. Or I want to extract the first one. Or I want to extract some other element in this group. Using XPath. Using XPath itself, I can get it. So how we can get this? So let me first write a XPath to capture the group of web elements. Now what I'm doing is here, let me inspect this followers. So this is the followers heading text. And this is the under followers. This is part of the div tag. And if you expand this UL, here you can find this element. So now I want to write an XPath which is matching with all these elements. Facebook, Twitter, RSS, user. These are the group of elements. So we can start from H3. So let's write an XPath here. So again, if I say dot slash H3, it is matching with all 4 headers. And which one we want here in the 4 headers, which one we want? 4th header we want. Can we pass index here to extract the 4th header? Can we pass index? 4th. 0 element is giving. 0 element we are giving. 4 elements are matching, but among this, the 4th element, index 4 is not there. So you can say 3, 0 element. So it is not giving array here. So what we need to do now from the H3 is what? H3 is an independent element. All ULs are not part of H3 actually. This is an independent element. So we can ignore this. So what is the parent element of this UL? H3 and UL are the both child elements of div. So which one we have to take? The div element we have to take, not the followers. So let's go to the div element. Instead of H3, I'm taking the div element. So div of, so I can specify an attribute. So what is an attribute we have for the div? Column followers. So that I'm going to give here. So at the rate class equal to, we need to provide the complete value of the class. So what is the value? Column space follow hyphen as. Right? So this is the next path I have given. So with this XPath, this is exactly matching with the div tag. Now you can see the whole section is got matched. But I want to match individual elements one by one. So first we go to this entire box. using div. Inside the div, we need to go to UL tag because in the UL itself, we have all these li items. So we can say slash UL, one element again, slash li, 5 elements. So this is an actual XPath. So in the relative XPath, I can directly jump to the element, right? If I say single slash, it will go to the next element. But if I say double slash, it will go to direct element. Can we avoid this UL by keeping double slashes here? Yes, perfect. Because in relative XPath, whatever the tags are coming in the middle of the path, you can avoid this by using slash slash. Now first it will go to this element, div element. From that, it will directly jump into li items, list items, it will jump. So this is giving 5 elements. Okay, this XPath is returning 5 elements. Now, in those 5 elements, I want to extract the last element. Only last element I want to get. So how we can write that in XPath? We have a method. So li of, can we pass index here? 4 I'm passing, 1 element is matching. 5 passing, 1 element. You can pass index also. You can say 1, first element matching. 2, second li. 3, third li. 4, 5. So you can pass index. By using index, you can extract the specific element. But instead of passing index, I also have a method called last. So this return the last element. And let us use first. We don't have first method. Okay, we have only the last method we have. Last. Alternatively, you can pass index also. Okay, index we can put in the bracket. So the last method will return the last element from this list. Okay, suppose I want to extract a different element randomly, like first element, second or third element. Then you can use index. That is the one option available. The other option is using position method also we can do. So instead of last, you can specify the position. Position equal to, you can pass the number. Let's say 1, first element. Let's say 2, second position element. Let's say 3, third position, fourth position, fifth position. So these are all the different approaches. You can use whichever approach you want. So either you can directly pass index of the li, one approach. Second approach is using position. We can get whichever element you want. But we have only one method called last. Using that method, you can extract only the last element. Okay. So instead of position, I can use a last method like this. By default, last means last element will be written. There is no first element. Okay. So let me use this text and last. All right. So page dot locator of last, and this will return the last element. Okay, so obviously what is the last element? I can put some variable here. Last item. And this is a const. And what is the type of this item? So this is again locator type. Okay, so this will print. So we can expect. So we can expect. And this particular element is to be visible. To be visible. So just simply visibility check I've done. So this is how we can do. So do we need await statement here? Yes. Okay, so this is how we can capture the last element. So last item. So similarly, we can capture the position, specific element. Slash slash seventh method. Position. Same thing and position item. So here instead of last, I can use position and I can provide the position. Let's say 3 I'm giving. And this position item, I'm verifying it's visible or not. Again, if you want to get the text from this, can we get? Suppose here visibility I'm verifying, but I want to see the last element. What is the last element? How we can get? Last element. Last item. Dot. What is the method? text content. Okay, text content. So here, text content of last element. Okay, similarly, here also we can extract the text content. So text content of positional element, position item dot text content. So the text content method will also return a promise. So you must specify await before that. So here also we need to specify await before that. Last item is a variable, right? So bracket is not needed. So position item. So this is how we can do that. Text content is a method. Yeah. Now execute. Control C. Okay. These are all different alternatives approaches in XPath. So whichever you familiar, you can use that approach. Okay, now it is get failed. So where it is get failed? Here it is got to be visible. Position item dot to be visible is getting failed. So what is an error? Syntax error, fail to execute evaluated document. Okay, there is syntax error in this. Okay, so let us check the syntax error. Position of, sorry. The syntax is not this one, guys. So position, we cannot provide the value directly in this. You can say equal to 3. Okay, that is the syntax. Okay, so now it is get passed. Now you can see the last content is Google Plus. The text content of positional element is RSS. Right, so this is how we can use a different functions in the XPath. Okay, clear so far, everyone? How we can use the different functions. So now we'll see how we can handle the dynamic elements using XPath. So the attributes are dynamically changing. For example, let's say I have two buttons here. So start button and stop button. So actually one button, when you click on the start button, it will turn into stop. Again, when you click on the stop button, again, it will turn into start. The same button is acting as a two different behaviors. Okay. So when the button is in start state, so this is a HTML, name equal to start, class equal to start. But once it is turned into stop, the name value is changing, class value is also changing. But I want to write one single XPath through which I'm able to handle both the scenarios. With single XPath, I should able to match with the both the scenarios. So how it is possible? For example, if I write an XPath like this, it's a button element and at the rate name equal to star. So when I write XPath, this is matching with only first element. When the button is in the start state, then this XPath will match. But once it is turned into stop, this XPath will return exception. This won't match. Similarly, if I write an XPath like this, button at the rate name equal to stop, then if the button is in stop state, then this XPath will work. But once it is turned into start, again, this won't work. So these two XPath will not work to handle this scenario. But how we can handle this? To handle the dynamic XPath, we have a multiple options are there. So you can use OR operator like this. OR means what? Either the first one or second one, at least one should be matched. So when the button is in start state, the first one will match. If the button is in stop state, then second one will match. Similarly, you can use contains method also. So contains name equal to, if you look at here, both names start with st only, right? So you can use start with function along with st, name equal to st. So this will also match with both elements. Or you can use the text function. So you can say text to stop. What's the value of the text here? Stop. Here value of the text is stop, start. So you can use like this, text bracket equal to stop or text equal to start. So these are the different ways we can handle dynamic element, especially using these methods. Contains start with text. So these functions will be very, very useful when you're working with the dynamic web elements. Okay. So let me show you a simple example how to handle the dynamic elements. using XPath. So new file, a dynamic elements dot spec dot ts. Okay, simple example I already have. Let me just copy here. So this is my simple test to handle the dynamic web elements. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to launch this page. So in this particular page, I have this element. So here you can see it's a dynamic button. So when you click on the start, it turn into stop. Again, when you click on this, again turn into start. So same button, if I inspect this element, you can see the same attribute. You can see stop class equal to stop. Currently it's in stop state. But once you click on it, again it is turned into start. Again, once you click on this, again turn into stop. Now with a single XPath, we should able to handle this element. So you can see I'm written the for loop here actually. So this is the next path you have to write. You can use any of this XPath. I have shown all the things here. So button text equal to stop or text equal to start. So I'm capturing the locator in this element. After that, I'm performing the click action. And after clicking action, I'm waiting for some time because to see the effect on that web page. So I'm written in for loop 5 times I'm clicking. But every time I click, it should change the status. And this XPath will able to handle in both the status. Right? 5 times I'm clicking. So let's try and execute this. Go to terminal, new. So you can say dynamic. I think there is a spelling mistake in this. So dynamic elements. Okay, so we need to run this in headed mode so that we can see the impact. So it is executed. Let me run this in headed mode. So once you run it is in headed mode, you can see the reflection here. You can see so clicking on the start. So now I can turn into stop. So again, it is clicking on the stop, turn into start. Again, clicking on the stop, again turn into start. So 5 times it is trying to click on the element. Color is not changing on the UI, but it is still doing the action. So this is the way we can do it, or you can use any one of the XPath. So this is how we can handle the dynamically changing the properties using XPath. So instead of using XPath, we can also use CSS, or we can also use Playwright specific locators also we can use. Suppose if you want to handle this dynamic element using CSS, how we can do that? So let me show you. This is using XPath, right? So let me comment this. So I want to do the same thing using CSS. Using CSS. So instead of writing the XPath, we can simply write a CSS for that. Okay, let me write another test for CSS. Same test, same thing again, but here instead of writing this is not CSS, this is CSS. Okay, this is all about CSS. Now you can see this is a CSS. Button name equal to start, comma, button name equal to stop. So here the comma is representing like a R. So either button name should be start or button name should be stop. It can be anything. So in that case, this locator will match. This is CSS locator. And the rest of the things are same. So this will also work in the similar way. So using CSS also, we can handle dynamic elements. So it is keep clicking on the element. See, when I use CSS, it is also clicking on the element. Perfect. So now again, we can achieve the same thing using Playwright specific locators. So if you just want to use Playwright methods, we can get that element using role. Get by role method is there, right? So we can use that. So using Playwright specific locators. So how we can use Playwright specific locators. So to use Playwright specific locators, you can use get by role method. Let me show you that. It's very simple. Again, same code. So here we can write like this. This is get by role method. Page dot get by role. Playwright specific method. And what's the role of that button, right? Role name is button. And the name, you can see that. So normally we specify only one name here, right? If I use regular expression, you can specify multiple names. You can see start or stop. This is or operator. Playwright, it is an or operator. Start or stop. It can be anything. Button name can be anything. And this slash is representing regular expression. Whenever you include the regular expression here in Playwright, you should start with the forward slash. Also end with the forward slash. And in between, you can write a regular expression. Here, this is a regular expression. Or operator is a regular expression. So by using role, get by role also, we can handle the dynamic web elements by writing proper XPath. So proper regular expression. So when I execute this, this will also do the same thing. You can see this, it is trying to click on the element multiple times. So these are the different type of locators are supported in Playwright. So as per the Playwright, the first priority is always goes to Playwright specific locators. So these are the locators are provided by the Playwright. So first priority goes to this one and second priority will goes to always CSS. So always CSS. XPath is not recommended. So you can use XPath also sometimes, but that is a lower priority. So first priority is always goes to this one. Even in the real-time projects, in the Playwright process, most of the times we use Playwright specific locators. They are more stable and more faster. But when you compare with these three types of locators, XPath is very slower than other locators. So Playwright specific locators are very faster, and then CSS and then XPath. Again, when you compare with CSS and XPath, XPath is very slower than CSS. So that is the reason CSS and Playwright specific locators are preferable in our automation. Okay. So that is all about XPath. So there is another class for XPath. We have to discuss about XPath axis, like child, parent, following, preceding, following sibling, preceding sibling. So there are 7 to 8 combinations are there. So we will discuss them in the next class. That is again continuation of the XPath. Okay. So as part of today's session, so you have to do one assignment. So whatever the code I have written, XPath locators. So this is the same code. I've used a different XPaths, right? So instead of XPaths, try to replace with the CSS locators. Same code, try to copy the same code, but wherever I have referred the XPath, try to change them as CSS locators. Okay, you can try that. So I have already uploaded the solution also in the last class folder. You can check it. So where you can find the solution for that. So same code I have written using CSS locators. So please go through them and do practice. In the next class, we will see XPath axis part. Okay. So let us stop here for today's session. We will continue tomorrow.